The first question I have for you today is about our politicians and whether you feel they're providing enough support for property developers to create projects that are beneficial not only for our current generation, but also for our future population.
My wife made a comment a little while ago, is that we don't actually have a minister for the aged now. So therefore, this can be a threefold answer to that question. I think what we do is we need a minister for growth, and we need a minister for the aged. And the reality of that is that the aged population now is growing at a rapid rate now, and there are some really good facilities, and we probably need a lot more of them. The other thing that relates to is that at the other end of the pendulum, we're also finding that with the new migration and all the growth that we're having now, 400 plus a day here in Melbourne, is that our road infrastructure is struggling. Every time we go to do some road structuring, or we put in a new rail line, or we do the overpasses for the rail, or we do the underpasses for the rail, whatever it might be, the actual intrusive nature of that to Melbourne's traffic flow is huge, huge. So therefore, what worries me is that we are always behind the eight ball when it comes to the development of our transport infrastructure, always. So what does that mean? To someone like me, it means that, well, if I'm going to stay living in Melbourne, I'm going to be inconvenienced for up to the next 10 to 20 years, on and off, fairly periodically, fairly regularly. So whether I put up with that or not, I don't know. But that would be one of the things that would turn me off living in central Melbourne, as I do now. So the next thing beckons is that it is up to the governments to make sure that we have a plan that stays ahead of the game. And one of the things that I've always preached to the people I consult with is if you want to grow your business, you need 10 to 15% more staff at any given time, so you can grow your business and you can lead into it without basically turning it up on its head and making everyone struggle in relation to the workload. It's the same with transport infrastructure and development of infrastructure in any town, is you need to be ahead of the game. And the transport and infrastructure type setup in any particular state or country needs to be well advanced for what it needs at the particular time, in my opinion, for it to grow properly.
You mentioned earlier that over 400 people are coming into the state on a daily basis. If you do the figures on that, that's well over 130,000 people per year coming to live in Victoria on a permanent basis. Do you think that the infrastructure that is being planned right now is going to be enough to accommodate for this increase in population?
The first thing is, and I'm going to answer you in a backward sort of form, John. The first thing is that I look at where government is spending their infrastructure money, I look at transport, and I look at education. The answer to your question is no, we're not. We're behind the eight ball with that. Right. Now, and it's interesting, when I go to Sydney, then I see they're really behind the eight ball and go, wow, it's just diabolical, right? So the way the transport infrastructure works there, and for the growth that it's had, like, it just has not coped with it. Now, because sometimes you can get from the airport, maybe I used to go up to Sydney on a Wednesday. I'd arrive in Sydney at 9:30 on one particular Wednesday. On one particular Wednesday, I'd get into town in 22 minutes. And then the next time it'd take me an hour and a half on the same Wednesday a week later. Yeah. Why is that? I'm not particularly sure. Excuse me. So, one of the things that I'd say is that we are behind the game in that regard in a fairly big way. So therefore, any government that gets into power, I think one of their main platforms should be infrastructure development. And we need to expand that department greatly.